Guys, if the Holy Grail exists, this is it. This is the closest we have to the Holy Grail. Most traders say, oh, we don't gatekeep. Guys, they are literally gatekeeping this, okay? This is the type of stuff they teach in mentorships, and you won't find this anywhere, okay? Because this is so darn simple. This is literally how the market moves, okay? And not only I'm going to be teaching you what kind of New York Open are there, I'm also going to be teaching you how to take a trade off of them. So let's start off with the classic, okay? We all know about the New York continuation. This is basically London manipulation, New York distribution, but you don't know exactly how this is, okay? I'm going to be fully explaining this to you, how you're going to take a trade off of this, and literally everything. So first of all, they all say, oh, New York is just a manipulation of Asian highs and lows. No, this is actually wrong, okay? It does manipulate the lows or highs of Asia, but it not only does that, but it also, it has to manipulate a higher time frame liquidity sweep. So London mostly manipulates like hourly highs and lows, 4-hour highs and lows, okay? Not only limited to that, it also manipulates into a higher time frame fair value gap. So this could either be a 1 or 2 hour liquidity sweep or a fair value gap. Now, depending, this London reversal is close to this, but depending if the London has reversed, okay? So if London makes a small retracement up from the gap, you know New York is going to be a continuation of that gap. Now, let me teach you how you're going to trade this, guys, because that's how you make them bread. Okay, so here on the leg up, you're going to be identifying, you're going to go into the 5-minute time frame. You're going to identify 5-minute lows, okay? Lows. 5-minute lows, because we are going up, so lows, 5-minute lows, okay? A bunch of lows are going to be here. You're going to wait for a New York session to come into any of those 5-minute lows and make a break of structure and a fair value gap on the 1-minute time frame. Okay, so on the 1-minute time frame, we're going to be looking for a break of structure and a fair value gap. Either that, or you need to see a 5-minute fair value gap. Okay, so if you see a 5-minute fair value gap on the leg up from the New York, you're going to wait for New York session to come down into this gap, make a break of structure. So this is a break of structure, a fair value gap, entry on the fair value gap, and then you go up. I prefer always a 1 to 2. So order right here, stop loss right here, 1 to 2, boys. Always 1 to 2, best. So that's exactly how you take a trade off of this. Okay, so if it's like 5-minute lows, it's exactly the same. Wait for a low, like a 5-minute low, to get swept, and then you wait for a break of structure, fair value. Exact same thing, just depending on if it's a fair value gap or a liquidity sweep. Got it, boys? So if New York session comes down into a low, a 5-minute low, and does not give a break of structure and a fair value gap, that low is invalid. You're going to need to look for another low. Okay, so New York reverse, it's the exact same thing, but when London session goes into a higher time frame fair value gap or a liquidity sweep, if it had not make a retracement up, you know New York is going to be a retracement of that move. So the way you trade this, it's a bit tricky, okay, but it's not. So either you're going to be looking for, like, you know, a break of structure on the from the leg of London, so a break of structure here, and then, you know, 1 to 2, and also a fair value gap, entry into the fair value gap, and then a 1 to 2. Or it's going to be a inverse of a 5-minute gap. So when a 5-minute fair value gap on the New York's leg down gets inverse straight up, just take a trade off of this. So this is that. Now another one. This one I think rarely happens, but it does happen when London session does not manipulate neither the lows, 1-hour highs and lows, or the London lows or highs. Okay, so what New York will typically do, what New York will typically do, this is, by the way, called a New York manipulation and distribution, because New York itself just does the job of London. It will manipulate the low of the London and make a distribution. So this is obviously pretty self-explanatory. Liquidity sweep, you're gonna try to find a break of structure here and a fair value gap, entering the fair value gap, 1 to 2. 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio, if you did not know what I meant by 1 to 2. That's literally, actually, this happened yesterday and I took a trade off of this. I'm gonna put that, no, maybe I'm not gonna put that on screen because I'm not gonna be editing this. This is literally just a raw video, and I hope you understand that. If you did not, just watch it again. Guys, no joke, as I was pulling out my laptop to show you guys on screen the examples. The laptop screen, it fell and it broke. I think I got cursed because I shared a little extra. I think I just shared, you know, forbidden information, and I got cursed. Anyways, guys, at least like the screen just got faded and everything, and the corner just like made a big huge crack. Man, this was like my favorite laptop, no joke. This was actually my first laptop I got. It was from my grandma. Dang, man. Anyways, let's actually continue. Forget about that. At least it works, okay? Anyway, I'm gonna be buying a new one, so but this laptop is gonna be in my heart forever. So example of New York manipulation and distribution. As you can see, London session accumulated did not manipulate any lows or highs for that matter. This was like a significant hourly high, but it did not manipulate this. So we know that London session is going to be a manipulation of the New York session. So New York session ended up manipulating the high of London. As you can see, it barely went through and it manipulated the high. And actually I took a trade off of this. Was the trade I took yesterday. Let me just, guys, bring you on to another example, being, oh yeah, so this is actually the best example, right? So let me just remove this real quick. So really good example of New York reversal. So the reversal is that, as you can see, London session manipulated into a higher time frame gap, and on the way up it left a fair value gap, which you could have taken an entry off of right here. Boom. And a 1 to 2 was difficult here. I don't think I actually took this trade. It ended up did not playing out, but I ended up getting break even. But the concept itself is correct. It just did not have enough momentum, to be honest. Anyways, another example of, yeah, so this is another example of a New York reversal. So this was a fair value gap on the higher time frame. It ended up getting inversed, and you could have taken a 1 to 2 off of this. Man, I'm so burned up at the laptop screen. I'm so sad. So another great example of New York reversal. So this is a higher time frame. This was a high time frame liquidity sweep. It ended up, and this was a fair value gap on the leg down. And this is the trade that I took. So yeah, boys, I'm sorry if you can't really see it, and yeah, this is just a few examples. I hope you understood. And man, I'm so sad about the screen.